And I give the floor now to the representative of the Russian Federation.
Thank you, Mr. President. We're grateful to the current and former chairs of the Peacebuilding Commission, the Chargé d'Affaires of Bangladesh, Mr. Mohammed Monwar Hussein, and the Ambassador of Egypt, Mr. Abdel Khalek, for their statements and their assessments. The UN's peacebuilding assistance is one of the most important tools at the organization's disposal for helping states overcome the consequences of conflicts and preventing their recurrence. A particular role in these efforts for almost 2 decades now has been played by the Peacebuilding Commission, which is simultaneously an intergovernmental advisory organ and a convening platform where those involved can learn of the opinions of a broad range of interested parties on pressing issues. Confirmation of the authority of the Commission's work and its potential is the trend towards its expanding geography and the expanding geography of its work. In addition to the country-specific configurations on Burundi, Liberia, Guinea-Bissau and the CAR, last year the Commission held its first meetings on Chad and the Gulf of Guinea region. A comprehensive and impartial approach to taking into account the specificities of countries and the regional factor, a patient analysis, and the pursuit of unique solutions to achieving national priorities, all of this will help successfully achieve peace-building goals. We are convinced of the greater effectiveness of this way of working compared with expanding the scope of thematic contexts, which are often already discussed at all sorts of UN fora. It's important to underscore that at the center of the Commission's work and also at the center of all sorts of peace-building and sustaining peace processes, there's always respect for the sovereignty of the host country and the need to work in line with its priorities. Experience has proven that international assistance in peace-building is most effective when it is based on the principle of national ownership, meaning that governments, taking into account the needs of society, decide on and implement the most pressing peace-building actions and strategies. The UN and international partners, including regional and sub-regional organizations, and also the international financial institutions, must, where necessary and with the consent of the host country, provide assistance, which needs to focus first and foremost on building the capacity of the states themselves to overcome conflicts. Working with local population groups and non-governmental organizations can take on a supporting role, with the authorities playing a coordinating role. We believe that the PBC has room to improve the quality of its recommendations to the Security Council, which could be provided upon the request of the Security Council in relation to country subjects that are on the agendas of both organs. We are convinced that the value of the Commission is that it can pass along to the Council the peace-building priorities of the host country, which could be a useful addition to the respective reports of the UN Secretary-General. It's the added value and pertinence of the Peacebuilding Commission's recommendations that play a fundamental role in it being taken into account in the work of the Security Council and also that of the General Assembly and ECOSOC. We believe that in order to improve the quality of cooperation between the Security Council and the Commission, in some cases, for example, there's no need to wait for a planned Council meeting for the formal statement of the head of a country-specific configuration. If there's an urgent matter, then a letter can be written to the Security Council to that effect. Mr. President, this year, once again, we've discussed the question of the appropriate financing of peace-building activities. We outlined our position in detail in the General Assembly and in the Peacebuilding Commission. At the same time, we believe it's necessary once again to underscore that we need to start from an assessment of the existing channels of peace-building financing. It's important to clarify whether sufficiently effective mandates are being issued, whether resources from UN peacekeeping and political missions are being effectively allocated and spent, and whether coordination of these efforts with UN funds and programs, specialized agencies, NGOs, and the financial institutions are being effectively coordinated. Another long-standing problem is the high cost of carrying out projects due to expenditure on international staff and all sorts of consultants. Sometimes these numbers go beyond what is reasonable. Moreover, We consistently call for resources to be allocated to overcoming the real causes of conflicts. We do not agree with the widespread practice of generic priorities, which may not even be mentioned as priorities for the host country, but which are popular among donors, get a fixed % of resources. There are many cases when donors attach political conditions. And we see this as another region why already scant resources are being spread too thin. And even more glaring is the situation where the financing for mechanisms for the implementation of peace agreements dries up, as recently happened in South Sudan. We can talk all we like about human rights or climate change and other problems, but achieving or building peace in those conditions won't be possible. Our view is that it is the political settlement of conflicts and stabilizing the security situation which lays the foundation for improving the human rights situation and for building democratic institutions in a particular country, rather than vice versa. We have always supported the Peacebuilding Fund as a flexible mechanism allowing for a rapid response to emerging problems, but we have never seen the PBF as the only source of resources for peacebuilding. The fund was created and operates as an instrument for gathering voluntary contributions. And if we are considering the possibility of replenishing the Peacebuilding Fund with resources from the regular budget, then we must deal with the acute issue of member states determining the mandate for their use and also having oversight over the expenditure of those resources. We are in favor of resources reaching these recipient states and being spent on the real peace-building priorities and needs of those states. Thank you for your attention.
I thank the representative of the Russian Federation for her statement.